Observe what happens when sunbeams are admitted into a building. Their dancing is an actual indication of underlying movements of matter, moved by blows that remain invisible. That beautiful observation wasn't made by some modern physicist huddled over an electron microscope. No, it was actually written way back in 60 BC by the ancient Roman philosopher Lucretius. Just by watching dust dance in a sunbeam, he perfectly described a profound scientific phenomenon. And believe it or not, this exact phenomenon would eventually bridge the gap between microscopic water molecules and the absolute chaos of Wall Street trading floors. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going on a bit of a journey. We're tracing the lineage of a single, honestly kind of bizarre scientific observation made by a 19th century botanist. We're going to uncover how the math that was developed to solve a tiny microscopic mystery actually became the exact same mathematical engine that drives quantitative finance today. It's literally the story of how the physics of the microscopic world perfectly mirrors the frantic, unpredictable behavior of human markets. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the jiggling pollen mystery. Second, proving the atomic world. Third, the math of randomness. Fourth, where physics meets the stock market. And finally, drift, volatility, and the limits of it all.
So, starting with part 1, the jiggling pollen mystery.
To really understand the stock market, we actually first have to look through a microscope at a simple drop of water. So, while Lucretius had the right idea back in 60 BC, the formal discovery happened much, much later. Picture this. It's 1827, and Scottish botanist Robert Brown is studying plant reproduction. He plops some Clarkia pulchella pollen into water and looks through his simple microscope. And what he saw was completely baffling. These tiny particles were executing this continuous, erratic, jittery motion, just bouncing around. Now, Brown was thorough. He repeated the exact same experiment using inorganic rock dust and then glass. And they jiggled too, so he ruled out life. But that left a massive mystery. What physical force was causing this endless random dance?
Well, this brilliantly illustrates what we now call Brownian motion, named in his honor. It's the random, continuous fluctuation of particles suspended in a fluid. Think of it like this. Imagine a massive beach ball in a stadium crowd being just batted around randomly by thousands of hands. At a microscopic level, that pollen grain is the beach ball, and it's constantly being bombarded by millions of invisible, rapidly moving water molecules. Because the fluid's temperature is balanced in thermal equilibrium, the direction of this invisible bombardment is constantly changing. So the particle gets hit just a tiny bit harder on one side than the other. And it's that asymmetry that drives the crazy jittery motion. Moving on to part 2, proving the atomic world.
You might find this hard to believe, but in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, scientists were actually still fiercely debating whether atoms and molecules even physically existed. It was a huge point of contention. Then, in 1905, Albert Einstein enters the chat. He published a groundbreaking paper proving that this random pollen motion was the exact mathematical result of individual water molecules colliding with it. He basically bridged thermodynamics and atomic theory with a brand new predictive diffusion equation. And by 1908, physicist Perrin took that math and conducted meticulous experiments verifying Einstein's equations. He won a Nobel Prize for it, and more importantly, he settled the debate once and for all. Atoms were real. Just to truly grasp the scale of what's happening here, look at this number, 10 to the 14th power. According to physicist Marian Smilichowski, that is the staggering, almost unbelievable number of collisions a single particle might undergo in just 1 second in a gas. 1 second. The sheer volume of statistical imbalances from all those hits creates that continuous motion. And here's the really wild part. This phenomenon actually scales all the way up to the macro universe. In astrophysics, massive bodies, literally black holes, experience a form of Brownian motion as they respond to the random gravitational pulls from surrounding stars. It turns out, the mathematics of randomness is truly universal. Which brings us to part 3, the math of randomness. Okay, so we know why the particles are moving, but the big question is, how do you predict the unpredictable? Classical mechanics couldn't easily track a particle undergoing 100 trillion collisions a second. It's just too chaotic. But Einstein realized something profound. The displacement of a Brownian particle, meaning how far it actually travels from its starting point, is not proportional to the elapsed time. Instead, it's proportional to the square root of the elapsed time. This was a real game changer because it brilliantly translated a wildly random walk into a highly predictable distribution of overall outcomes. All of which naturally leads us to a pretty fascinating question, right?
how exactly does a jiggling pollen grain explain the stock market? Like, what on earth does water molecular bombardment have to do with your retirement portfolio?
Let's find out in part 4, Physics Meets the Stock Market. So, fun fact, decades before Einstein's famous paper, right around 1900, a French mathematician named Louis Bachelier was actually already trying to use the mathematics of random motion to evaluate stock markets. But to make physics work for finance, a few adaptations had to be made. See, standard Brownian motion deals with absolute changes. A particle can cross into negative coordinates freely. But stock prices have stubborn properties. Mainly, they can never drop below $0. Plus, a 10% move matters the exact same whether a stock is trading at $10 or $1,000. So, to fix this little issue, finance uses something called geometric Brownian motion. Instead of modeling flat dollar changes, it models log or percentage returns. And that ensures the simulated prices stay positive and scale correctly.
So, geometric Brownian motion, or GBM for short, is basically a mathematical model used for evaluating stock prices over time. It combines a steady directional trend with random volatility-scaled shocks. If standard Brownian motion is a pollen grain being bombarded by invisible water molecules, then geometric Brownian motion is a stock price being constantly bombarded by the invisible, highly unpredictable flow of market news, human emotions, and trading volume.
And that takes us to our final section, Part 5, Drift, Volatility, and Limits.
Let's pop the hood and break down exactly how this financial engine runs. GBM relies on two primary ingredients, both derived from historical market data. First up, you have drift. This is simply the stock's expected rate of return. Think of it as the gentle underlying slope of the trend. Second is volatility. This is the magnitude of the randomness, the daily jitter, if you will. A highly volatile stock takes much bigger random steps, which creates a wider cone of possible future prices, whereas a low volatility stock tightly hugs its drift line. Under the GBM model, each trading day's return is just that drift, plus a random shock that's scaled by that volatility. And because this model relies on percentage returns, those small daily changes compound really smoothly. By repeating this step over a standard 252-day trading year, thousands and thousands of times using different random draws, analysts can generate a Monte Carlo simulation. This fans out into a highly realistic distribution of where a stock's price might actually end up. GBM is incredibly popular because it's fast and, honestly, analytically elegant. In fact, it is the exact underlying mathematical engine powering the Nobel-winning Black-Scholes option pricing formula that's used on trading desks worldwide today.
But, as I'm sure you've guessed, a stock is not exactly a pollen grain. The biggest flaw of geometric Brownian motion is that it assumes returns are normally distributed, like a classic bell curve. Real financial markets, however, have what statisticians call fat tails. This just means that extreme events, think massive crashes or euphoric melt-ups, happen far, far more frequently in real life than pure GBM math predicts. The model maps a fantastic, realistic range for everyday, normal outcomes, but it vastly underestimates the sheer force of collective human panic or greed. Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. We've seen how the random jitter of a little botanical specimen in a drop of water in 1827 gave us the math to prove atoms exist, and eventually, the framework to simulate the entire global economy. But can the complex, emotional, and totally unpredictable behavior of human beings ever truly be contained within the physics of random particles? It's a fascinating question, and it's one that keeps both physicists and financial analysts constantly searching for the next great mathematical breakthrough. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.